Right, this is an introduction to the block editor of WordPress, which you have on your website. Right?
Thank you.
So we're going to have a look, first of all, at some slides, and then we're going to do a little demo once we get into it. Right, so the WordPress Block Editor was previously called Gutenberg, and this introduction will show you some of the features and where you can find more about it. Long time ago, when WordPress was released, WordPress version 0.7.0, this is what the editor looked like. Now, in the previous version of WordPress 4.9, the editor looked somewhat like this. This is displaying a quote in the visual mode. You can also see content in text mode, where you can see the HTML. A year and a half ago, when Gutenberg was under development, this is what that same content looks like in a WordPress block. This block is a quote block. And now with WordPress 5.2, and the editor is part of WordPress. And here we can see the page that we are going to start messing about with. So this is the page we're going to start messing about with, and I'm going to try to show you some of the editor features that are listed here. I have a piece of paper with it printed out, so I don't have to keep on referring back to this. Excuse me. And let's have a little look at it starting from the top. The whole of this area is the editor body. At the top of the editor we have a toolbar where you can see the different tools that you can click on to get things to happen. On the right hand side we have a sidebar which you can toggle on and off by clicking the settings button. The sidebar displays the currently selected block, which in this case is the slide share, or we can click it to see the details for the whole document, which shows you the meta boxes that you're used to in the classic editor. If you click on this hamburger type menu, more tools and options, then you can see many other different options that you can choose to control the display of the editor. We can display the toolbar at the top of the page rather than above the block. We can go into spotlight mode, which means you're only working on one block and everything else gets greyed out, which is a bit strange. We can go into full screen mode, which is like distraction-free editing. It's also possible to switch to look at the code that you're editing. So this is the HTML and the HTML comments that Gutenberg generates when you write a block. Here we can see the slide share stuff. Rather complicated. I'd prefer to work inside the block editor nowadays. We can also see there's some plugins. We have Yoast SEO and Jetpack plugins, which are shown in the top here as well. The Yoast SEO one enables us to do all the standard things we used to do with Yoast SEO, but in the sidebar. And the Jetpack one enables us to do things like show the sharing buttons. If you don't want to use these things in the toolbar, we can just unpin them by deselecting it from that star there. Also in the tool section is the block manager, which is a new functionality in WordPress that enables you to decide which blocks you're going to use. So if you never use embeds, you can turn them all off. Knowing which blocks you're going to use will probably take you some time. You can search for the blocks that you want to turn on and turn off, so we can do that and find them this way, or you can just scroll up and down. There are such things as reusable blocks, which we can manage and change, and you can use the manage reusable blocks button to do that, option to do that. And a few other different useful things. If you like using the keyboard to do shortcuts, here are all the different codes that you can type. The options dialog enables us to select the different sections of the document panels and advanced panels that we can see on the right hand side. So if I don't want to see the permalink, I can deselect that. If I don't want a featured image, I can deselect that. Click on the toggle and turn them back on again as you need to. Going back to the top toolbar, you can see the Add Block button, which enables you to choose a block to insert. For example, related posts. And we can then, that will then enable the undo button, because we don't want to insert that one, or we can redo it, reinsert it. We can have a look at the structure of the document, which shows our post consists of a title, a heading for editor features, and the live demo bit, etc. We can also look at the blocks that are included in the page so far. We can go to this list that we have here. Each block has its own toolbar where you can control the different settings. Here in the paragraph block we can have it left aligned, center aligned, right aligned. We can set certain sections to bold, we can set certain bits to italicize, which you can already see, and we can create links as well. There's also the capability of inserting inline code and inline image, do something which is bad for accessibility, and other strange, wonderful things. In the right hand side, the settings section, we can also see bits where we can adjust the size of the font just by choosing a standard value or changing it by hand. We can enable a drop cap for the first letter, and we can change the colours. So we can change the background colour to blue and the foreground colour to light grey, and it will change the block completely. And we can undo these changes as you go on.
Do you know what you're doing next?
Yeah, I'm just about to insert a new block.
Do it.
I'm going to insert a new block here. Inserting a block, you click on this Add Block thing, right? There's one there. It's playing it. So we're going to choose a block to insert, and we're going to insert another paragraph block. Then we're going to type some content. Now, we don't like the position of that block, we want to move it. You can see on the left hand side here some arrows. We can move it up by clicking the up arrow, we can move it down by clicking the down arrow, or we can grab this bit and drag the block. How far you can drag it might be a bit tricky. So let's just do that. We can do a lot of the things with the block. If we like that block, this is beautiful, we can duplicate the block. And you can see there's the block before and there's the duplicated block. If you decide it wasn't any good, you can remove it. You can also have a look at the block's HTML or edit it visually. And if we want to insert some more blocks, we can choose to insert them before or after. So now I'm going to choose another block. This way I'm going to do it by typing in a slash and then picking from the same sort of list as we got by choosing the list up here. And sometimes this is easier. When you're creating a list item, type the first item, press enter, type the next item, and so on. If you wanted to have an ordered list, you need to change it to an ordered list. If you had a nested list, start creating that list and then indent it. And then maybe you can change that one back to an unordered list for the second item.
What's coming up next?
Well, say you've created two blocks, these ones and these ones, but you didn't actually want them there, you want them somewhere else, and you want to move them to behind this WordPress Block Editor. How do we do that? Well, it's possible to select one of them and then the other one, and we can see we got two blocks selected, and now we can use the move thing to move the selected group of blocks. And you can see it is showing a special icon to show it's two selected blocks. Here we got three. Another way of doing it is you can actually group the two blocks together. Just two blocks. And convert it to a group. This is now a new feature that's coming in Gutenberg 6 point something and will be in WordPress 5.3 or so. And now that we've got a group, we can treat that group as one block which can be moved up and down. Can we? No, it didn't. We now treat the whole group. Oh dear me. There's something to be moved up and down. It's not working, is it?